All right, let's jump right in. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you got a big group of people together for one simple, yet kind of huge goal? To figure out how their own brains work so they can make them work better? Well, we're going to go inside one of these workshops to find out what they discovered.
144. That's the number. That's how many total strangers decided to show up, all with that one shared mission, to find the key that unlocks their brain's potential. It's something we all want, isn't it? That drive to figure ourselves out and just get a little bit better?
And that really brings us to the big question of this whole explainer. If we look at their experience, what worked, what didn't, and what really stuck with them, what can we learn about learning itself? Let's treat this as a case study for all of us.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about who was actually in the room. Because, to really understand the learning, you've got to understand the learners.
And this is where it gets really interesting. This wasn't some niche group of academics. I mean, look at this breakdown. You've got students looking for an edge, teachers looking for new methods, entrepreneurs trying to boost creativity, and then almost 40% were just other professionals from all walks of life. It just proves that this desire to learn better is pretty much universal.
So we know who was there. Now let's get to the what. What was the secret sauce? What were the ingredients that made this whole lesson so effective? Well, the feedback they left gives us some amazing clues.
I mean, just look at these numbers. They're through the roof. Over 85% said they walked away with valuable new skills. But, high scores are one thing. The real question is why? What specific things made the information connect so well? The attendees' own words tell the story.
And here's the first big insight. Our brains absolutely love a good story. This comment about the cruise ship is a perfect example of the power of analogy. You take a really complex idea, like how different parts of your brain talk to each other, and you compare it to something we all get, like how a cruise ship operates. Instantly, it just clicks. It becomes memorable.
And here's the second key ingredient, myth-busting. See, before you can learn something new, a lot of the time you have to unlearn something you thought was true. By directly taking on those common myths, like the whole we only use 10% of our brain thing, the workshop cleared out the clutter. It created a clean slate for the right information to actually stick.
Of course, no experience is perfect, but the feedback on what could be better wasn't just criticism. It actually reveals these universal truths about the challenges we all face when we're trying to wrap our heads around new, difficult ideas.
In fact, when they were asked what could be improved, one thing came up way more than anything else. It was a simple, direct plea. Any guesses what it was?
Yep, more visuals. People wanted more slides, more diagrams, more charts. They wanted to see the ideas, not just hear them, which is kind of funny, right? Because that's literally what we're doing for you right now in this explainer, using clear visuals to help the ideas land.
The other major hurdle was jargon. You know what I'm talking about. Those technical terms experts use, PFC, amygdala, neuroplasticity. Without knowing that the PFC is basically your brain's CEO, those words can feel like a brick wall. The feedback was super clear. Define your terms, keep the language simple, and always connect it back to real-world examples people can actually use.
So, when it was all said and done, what was the real-world impact? This is the payoff, right? How did this information actually change the people in that room? Well, the results basically fall into three big buckets.
It wasn't just about learning facts. The transformation followed this really clear journey. First, you get the knowledge. That's understanding the what. Then you develop the skills, learning the how to apply it. But the deepest, most profound change came in their attitude. That was them truly adopting the why.
And wow, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? This is that attitude shift in action. It's that huge leap from thinking I am who I am to believing I can always grow. This idea, the growth mindset, is maybe the most powerful thing you can take from any lesson. It fuels that desire to just keep getting better for your whole life.
And that brings us to our final point. Because a really great learning experience doesn't just wrap things up with a neat little bow. No, it opens up a dozen new doors and leaves you hungry for what's next. Get this, 98.6% of the people there wanted to continue their learning journey. I mean, that's pretty much everybody. That is the ultimate sign of success. It means the workshop didn't just answer their questions, it made them curious enough to ask new ones. And what did they want to learn next? It wasn't abstract theory. It was all intensely practical stuff. How to manage stress and emotions, how to remember things better, how to focus in a world full of distractions, even how to keep your brain healthy as you get older. They wanted tools for the real challenges they face every single day. So we'll end with this. Looking at that list, it really makes you think, doesn't it? If you had the chance to learn just one thing about how your own brain works to unlock your potential, what would you pick? What's the one key you're looking for?